There is no future version of you that is greater than the one you decide to be in this moment. You are not waiting to become rich. You're not waiting for opportunities to align. You're not waiting for someone to give you permission. You are the only one who must believe, and once you do, everything else bends in response. Right now, in the quiet of your mind, you are either planting seeds of wealth or sowing doubts of lack. Every thought, every inner conversation, every self-concept, you are rehearsing a future. The question is, whose future are you rehearsing? The version of you who lacks, or the version of you who leads? You don't need to work harder to become a millionaire. You need to embody the energy of a millionaire now. Begin to think the thoughts they would think. Speak the way they speak. Hold your head as they would. Feel the confidence that drips off of someone who no longer doubts. When you walk into a room, walk in as if you're the one writing the checks, not asking for one. When you look in the mirror, see beyond your current bank balance. See the identity that calls in abundance effortlessly. Because identity is not built by your environment. Your environment is built by your identity. Every time you say, I am, you're casting a vote for the version of you that shows up next. So stop saying, I'm trying, or I'm not there yet. Replace it with, I already am. Speak it, live it, wear it in your energy, not from delusion, but from divine design. Imagination is not wishful thinking. It is the workshop of creation. When you imagine yourself closing $1,000,000 deals, sitting in first class, giving generously, receiving with ease, that's not fantasy. That is a preview of your soul's memory. It's a signal you're meant for more. But here's the secret that most never learn. You cannot get what you are not willing to be. Be it now. Feel it now. Act from it now. If you're waiting for proof before you believe, you've already lost. The proof shows up after you become the person who no longer needs it. Yes, the world might not see it yet, but the world is only a mirror, and mirrors don't change until you do. So change your posture. Change your words. Change your internal temperature to match that of someone who already knows the million is on its way. And not just the money, but the mindset, the freedom, the impact. You don't attract abundance by fighting scarcity. You attract abundance by becoming someone who has never lacked. So today, drop the waiting. Drop the pretending. Drop the doubt. Wear your millionaire identity like a second skin. Let your imagination be your passport. Let your assumption be your certainty. And let your actions flow from the knowing that it's already done. You are not becoming the millionaire version of you. You are remembering. You are returning. You are revealing the version of you that was always within. And once you do, money, success, opportunities, they don't chase you. They recognize you, and they come running. Thank you. You must understand something powerful. The secret is not in doing more. It's in being more. If you want to become the millionaire version of yourself, you cannot wait until the money appears to feel successful. That approach is backwards. You must first feel wealthy within, and only then will your outer world begin to align. This is not about delusion. It's about design. It's about deliberately assuming the inner state that latches the life you desire. That feeling of financial security, of impact, of freedom. You don't have to wait for it. You can access it now. And the moment you do, you begin creating from the future you want, rather than reacting to the present you don't. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you're no longer hoping, wishing, or striving. You are being. You walk differently. You speak with conviction. You sit in silence with a knowing that what you've asked for is already yours. The world may not see the evidence yet, but you're not here to ask for permission. You're here to embody the truth before it manifests. Ask yourself this: how would the millionaire version of me think in this situation? How would they feel when facing a challenge? What would they say yes to, and what would they instantly walk away from? Then, act accordingly. Stop checking your bank account to decide how confident you feel today. Stop letting your current circumstances become the limit of your imagination. You must flip that script. Let your inner reality become the blueprint for your outer one. Your job is not to force the outcome, but to maintain the state. to dwell in the feeling as if it's already true. Imagine waking up and already knowing you're that person. You don't need to prove it. You don't need validation. You feel it in your bones. You carry a presence that says, I've already won. And that presence becomes magnetic. People notice. Opportunities arrive, not because you're chasing, but because you're aligned. This assumption is not a one-time thought. It's a lifestyle, a discipline, a choice you make again and again, even when the world tries to tell you otherwise. Especially when the world tries to tell you otherwise. Because reality is slow to catch up, but it always does. What you feel consistently, you create eventually. So hold the feeling. Live in it. Breathe in it. Make decisions from it. Let it color your conversations, your posture, your habits, your expectations. And one day, without force, the external world will match what you've already known within. That's not luck. That's law. You don't become a millionaire by working your way there. You become a millionaire by assuming the identity now and letting everything else rise to meet you. Keep the feeling alive. It's already done. Everything changes the moment you decide to stop chasing and start embodying. The idea of living from the end isn't about wishful thinking. It's about identity. It's about stepping into the reality of your desired future, here and now, and allowing that version of you to become your operating system. Too often, people live life on pause, waiting for the money, waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for validation before they fully commit to becoming who they already know they are deep inside. But your breakthrough doesn't come when conditions finally align. Your breakthrough comes when you align internally with the outcome you desire. Living from the end means thinking, speaking, and moving as if your dream has already unfolded. If you were already the successful version of yourself, how would you carry yourself today? What would your tone of voice sound like? What decisions would you stop overthinking? What relationships would you no longer tolerate? What habits would you upgrade without hesitation? When you live from the end, you act from certainty, not from hope. You're not begging the future to come. You're living as if it already has. You're not trying to convince the world. You're not asking for signs. You are the sign. Let's be clear, this isn't faking it. This isn't pretending. It's remembering who you are and moving as if nothing is missing. Because truthfully, nothing is. The version of you who has everything you want is not somewhere in the distance. You just haven't chosen to live as them yet. Start your day with the end in mind. Not as a goal to chase, but as a state to assume. Close your eyes and step into the scene of your fulfilled life. Hear the conversations you'd be having. Feel the comfort in your chest. Smell the air of that reality. See it, not from the outside looking in, but from within, as if it's happening now. Because in consciousness it already is. When doubt creeps in, and it will, you don't entertain it. You return to the end. You don't argue with the circumstances. You don't plead with time. You don't look for external proof. You simply persist in the inner knowing, because what you assume to be true consistently becomes the framework of your reality. Living from the end trains your subconscious to only recognize what matches that outcome. It filters out distractions. It silences fear. And it makes you immune to the noise of the world. You're no longer negotiating with life. You're directing it from the highest seat of authority, within. And one day, without fanfare, without struggle, the world will reflect back what you've been living all along. It won't be a surprise. It will feel like home, because you've already lived it, loved it, and become it in your imagination. All day long, you are talking to yourself about who you are, what you're worth, what's possible for you, and what's not. These silent, persistent thoughts are not background noise. They are creative instructions. Your inner dialogue becomes the template for your outer world. Every word you whisper within becomes a seed planted in the soil of your reality. So ask yourself, what are you constantly rehearsing in your mind? Are you speaking as someone who is waiting for success, or someone who already knows it's inevitable? Are you repeating fears, doubts, limitations, or are you affirming power, wealth, and wholeness? Because the truth is, What you say to yourself about yourself creates the boundaries of your life. You could read all the books, set all the goals, and follow all the strategies, but if your inner script still says, "I'm not good enough, I can't do this," or "I'm not there yet," your life will faithfully reflect that belief. Your subconscious doesn't take sides. It simply follows the instructions you've been giving it every day. That's why changing your inner conversation isn't just helpful. It's essential. You must begin speaking to yourself like the millionaire version of you already exists. Because in truth they do. They're not far away. They're one assumption away from being brought into your awareness. Picture the version of you who has already made it, already living in financial freedom, already impacting others, already moving with certainty. Now listen, how do they speak to themselves when no one is listening? They're not doubting their worth. They're not questioning if they belong in the room. They know they do. They're thinking thoughts of boldness, clarity, and direction. That must become your new internal soundtrack. Start catching those quiet criticisms. Replace them with declarations. Stop entertaining imaginary arguments and start rehearsing future celebrations. Instead of saying, "What if I fail?" begin with, "What if everything works out better than I imagined?" Instead of, "I'm not ready," begin with, "I already have everything I need within me," and repeat it daily, hourly, until your subconscious accepts it as truth. Because once your inner world changes, your outer world won't have a choice. That new client, that opportunity, that financial breakthrough, it won't come because you begged for it. It'll come because you finally believed you were worthy of it. You became someone who expected it. And expectation is powerful. It creates momentum. It alters the trajectory of everything. You don't need to control the entire path. You just need to control the conversation happening in your mind. So speak as your future self. Argue for your greatness, not your limitation. And watch as reality begins to mirror back the words you've whispered all along. Because the world isn't ignoring you. It's simply responding to the voice you've been using within. Choose your words like they shape your life, because they do. Before anything shows up in your outer world, it must first exist within you. Every structure, every invention, every empire ever built started the same way in someone's mind. Someone dared to see what wasn't visible. Someone trusted the unseen vision more than the physical facts. That's the difference between drifting through life and deliberately creating it. Imagination isn't some abstract spiritual tool. It's the first reality. The chair you sit on was once a thought. The phone in your hand was once an idea. The city you live in was once a vision in the mind of someone who dared to imagine it before it existed. So if you want to change your life, you must begin there, in the mind. Close your eyes and see yourself as you truly desire to be. Not someday, not in 5 years, but now. See yourself walking into the room with quiet confidence. Hear your name being mentioned in rooms you haven't even entered yet. Imagine yourself signing the deal, closing the sale, wearing the tailored suit, giving without hesitation. Feel the weight of that reality on your shoulders, not as a fantasy, but as truth. You don't imagine because you want to escape. You imagine because you're building the blueprint of what will be. Just as an architect drafts the unseen before laying the first brick, you must design your future in consciousness before it takes form. Here's the secret: your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It simply accepts what you repeatedly feed it. So if you flood it with images of limitation, scarcity, and lack, it will do everything in its power to confirm that story. But if you fill it with images of success, ease, wealth, joy, and freedom, it will open doors, shift perceptions, and align circumstances to fulfill that internal picture. This is why imagination must become your daily practice. It is not something you do once, hoping for magic. It is something you live in, over and over, until it becomes more real to you than your current surroundings. And it will feel real. The more you engage with it, the more emotionally connected you become to that inner world. And when it becomes real inside, it's only a matter of time before the world outside catches up. Imagination is the first cause. The physical is the final effect. So next time you're tempted to say, I'll believe it when I see it, reverse it. You'll see it when you believe it. And belief is born in imagination. So create boldly. Imagine relentlessly. Assume it's already done. Because once it lives vividly in your mind, you've already stepped into it. You're not waiting for the future. This is the foundational truth. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Your self-concept, the identity you hold deep within, acts like a magnet. It draws to you the people, circumstances, and experiences that align with your dominant self-image. If your concept of self is rooted in lack, limitation, or unworthiness, then no matter how hard you work or how much you desire, you'll continue to manifest situations that reinforce those beliefs. But shift your self-concept, and everything changes. You must begin to see yourself not as the person trying to succeed, but as the person who already has. Not as someone hoping for more, but as someone who naturally attracts more. The outer world is nothing but a reflection of the inner one. It is your mirror, not your master. It doesn't tell you who you are. It reflects who you've assumed yourself to be. So the real question is not, what do I want to have? The real question is, who do I choose to be? Because when you choose to embody the identity of a wealthy, confident, impactful person, the world cannot help but rearrange itself to confirm that assumption. Your energy shifts. Your language shifts. Your boundaries, habits, and expectations all begin to align with this upgraded version of yourself. This is not arrogance. It's alignment. It's understanding that you were never meant to beg the world for scraps. You were meant to radiate such conviction in your worth that the world reflects it back to you without resistance. And that kind of certainty doesn't come from hustle. It comes from identity. You want to become a millionaire. Then stop trying to get rich. Start thinking, speaking, and moving as someone who already is. The way you carry yourself, the standards you hold, the decisions you make, all of these flow from your self-concept. When that shifts, your life must shift with it. This is why two people can have the same opportunity, yet one thrives and the other struggles. It's not about luck. It's not even about talent. It's about self-concept. One sees themselves as worthy, capable, and chosen. The other sees themselves as unprepared or undeserving. The world reflects those beliefs perfectly. So, if you want to change your life, start with the inner declaration. This is who I am now. Say it until it's no longer a mantra, but a memory you're returning to. Walk into every room with the energy of someone who has already arrived. Speak as the version of you who no longer doubts. Choose as the version who no longer settles. Trust that identity creates conditions, not the other way around. Your destiny isn't written in the stars. It's written in your self-concept. Upgrade the story you tell about yourself, and you'll upgrade everything else. You're not waiting for life to recognize your worth. Life is waiting for you to remember it. The moment you declare a new version of yourself, wealthier, stronger, more successful, the world will respond, but not always in applause. More often, it will test you. It will hold up mirrors of your past. It will echo back the old reality, the old beliefs, the old circumstances, as if to ask, are you sure you've changed? And in that moment, most people retreat. They say, see, nothing's changing. They abandon the assumption. They doubt their power. They slip back into the familiar identity they worked so hard to leave behind. But this is the moment where your transformation is either cemented or postponed. This is the moment to persist. Persistence in the assumption means you refuse to let the outer world dictate your inner truth. You hold steady to your vision. Not because it's easy, but because it's done. You no longer need proof. You no longer beg the world to validate your growth. You live from the inner conviction that it's already yours, already true, already complete. When your current bank balance doesn't reflect wealth, persist in the assumption. When no one is clapping for your efforts, persist in the assumption. When results seem slow, silent, or invisible, persist in the assumption. Because here's what most people never realize: reality has a delay. Just like a radio tower takes time to broadcast a signal, Your outer world takes time to reflect your inner shift. It's not instant, but it is inevitable if you don't waver. The moment you change your self-concept, the universe begins rearranging itself. Conversations are redirected. People are nudged. Opportunities are repositioned, all to bring you what you've already assumed. But you must keep holding the frequency. You must keep thinking as your future self thinks. Keep walking as if the door has already opened. Keep speaking as if the deal is already done. Your job isn't to manipulate the 3D world. Your job is to embody the end result, no matter what the 3D shows you. Doubt is a seduction. It will whisper, "You're being unrealistic." But faith speaks louder. It's already done. You don't need a sign to keep going. You are the sign. You don't need validation to trust your path. The feeling of assumption is your evidence. And if the world seems silent, good. It means you're walking ahead of the echo. Persistence is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. It's the quiet confidence that says, "I don't care how things look. I know who I am now, and I'm not going back." This is the test of the few, but it is also the making of the powerful. Because once you persist long enough, the outer world has no choice. It must reflect the truth you've held unwaveringly. It must conform.